welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
I'm Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube, and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. So, today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 8, I, Robot, You, Jane. So any initial thoughts on it?
Solid episode.
Was it?
I mean, not as good as the last episode. I think my heart's going to be onto that episode for a while, but it was actually pretty good. Maybe my second favorite episode, or third favorite episode.
Yeah. So far you really liked The Witch, Never Kill a Boy on the First Date.
Those two. Those are my favorites.
And Angel.
Yeah.
And Angel, obviously.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those are, I mean, you're on track, like with like ones that like are popular, from this season. Yeah. And this one, like, is usually, I would say, I, Robot, You, Jane, and like the Teacher's Pet and the Pack are usually like, websites or other fans or whoever make like lists of like the worst Buffy episodes or the best, like all of them. And then you can like see where their justification where episodes fall. Okay. Those 3 episodes are usually pretty close to the end.
As this far one as included?
Like, yeah. I, Robot, You, Jane is usually pretty low on the listing. It's close to the bottom of like good episodes.
How did you feel? How did you feel?
There's stuff I liked about it. There's stuff I liked it better on this rewatch than I have in the past.
Okay.
There's stuff that just, because it's so technology based, I just think it just was even more dated than some of the otother episodes.
I'll give you that. Yeah. That was kind of funny, actually. I thought it was funny.
It was funny, but it did detract from.
Right.
Because it wasn't supposed to be fun. Like that part.
I was going to say, I know it wasn't their intention to be funny, but I love
so it just we can get into like the specifics, but it wasn't as bad as I remember.
Okay. I also liked the character that they introduced. So I'm curious to see if she'll be in other episodes.
Yes. Okay. Let's get into it then. Okay.
Let's get into it.
All right. So I, Robot, You, Jane. Mm-hmm. The air date was April 28th, 1997, written by Ashley Gable, yay for an Ashley, and a first female writer we've seen.
Oh, nice.
Also written by Thomas A. Swiden, directed by Stephen Posey.
Okay.
And the synopsis is, Buffy and Giles face a demon spirit who has been trapped since the Dark Ages and is unleashed into cyberspace. Meanwhile, Willow has fallen for a cyber beau whom she met online, and Xander and Buffy are wary of who this anonymous wooer may turn out to be. So we finally get our Willow episode.
Yes. Quite the Willow episode.
Been waiting for that for 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Yeah.
Had to sit through 2 Xander ones to get here. But, All right. So we will jump right in. We have another Slayer opening, another reminder of the premise of the show. I'm so excited when these will go away. I think it's just going to stay this season. I don't remember like how long these lasted on the version we're watching, obviously.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we start out with our first like official flashback to something pre the show's date.
Yeah.
So this is our first like flashback, and it's Cortona, Italy. I'm so bad at pronouncing things. 1418. So long time ago. We're at a castle, and everyone's speaking Italian. Go figure. And Carlo is the character that we see, this guy, and he's talking about how he is in love, and we see that he's talking to a demon, and the demon is asking for his love. It's like this like transactional exchange. Yeah. And the demon wants his love, and he's like, okay, you have it. And then he just kind of breaks his neck.
Yeah. Ouch. Harsh.
Yeah, kills him. And then we go to like a probably same time frame and everything. We go to a church. Yeah. And it looks like monks. That's what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
Monks have like, they tell us that demon is Moloch, the corruptor. So they are familiar with him. They said he's like released again.
The corruptor walks again.
Yeah, he walks again. So they're like, God damn it, Moloch's back. They've seen that they've tangoed with him before.
We need to get rid of him.
And they're all going to work together to get Moloch out, but put him back where he belongs.
Bind him.
Yeah, to bind him. They have this book, and they form, they say, the Circle of Kalis, and they perform a ritual to bind him to this book. And pretty soon it like works right away. There's not much like their plan goes pretty smoothly, and Moloch immediately knows something is happening, and he's like, no.
I
And
like that. Cheesy.
he gets sucked into the book,
That's right.
and he's captured. And the monks say, okay, as long as nobody reads this book, or like, oh, woe betide the person that reads this book and releases Moloch back into the world, and they close it up in a box.
Yeah,
And then the
of
box
course.
immediately opens in 1997 with Buffy
Yeah.
looking at it, saying, oh, a book.
I just wanted to toot my own horn because I think when you asked the question last week, I said a book.
You did. And I was like, okay.
I couldn't tell from your reaction. I tried to look
good,
at your reaction and I'm like, did I say it right? Did I not? Or did I guess it right? Did I
That
not?
is
I don't know.
great compliment because I have no poker face at all. So the fact that you were trying to read me and couldn't do it.
No, definitely not. I thought actually
Yes.
I got it wrong. So
No, you're right on there.
nice. Okay, that was exciting. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was excited for you.
I love when that happens.
Again, and I'm excited for you again. And what was I going to say about this? Yeah, like right off the bat, when he is calm and he's talking, I think he's very effective. But when he's having some kind of high emotion, the acting is just like not there
Cheesy?
for me. Yeah,
Cheesy.
it's cheesy. When he's talking slow and he's whatever, like it works for me.
Mhm.
But when it's like a bigger, like when he gets upset or mad or whatever, it doesn't work. It's cringy for me.
Yeah. I almost like I don't know if they were like trying to do that on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like to make him extra. I felt like maybe they were going for that. I don't know.
Possible. Didn't work for me personally, but I don't know. He was extra before it was cool to be extra, I guess. So Buffy, as we said, Buffy opens the box with the book in the library, and we see that there's an IT class going on. They are scanning books, so
Giles, this book can be skimmed.
Scanned.
That was so cute.
Yeah, his hate for technology. We've seen it before. We've seen it glimpses of
This
him having.
episode is centered on it.
It's basically just about how much Giles hates technology. And yeah, so the IT class is in the library and they're scanning all these books to like digitize them. And in this class is Willow. I guess Buffy is I don't know if she's just in the library because she's not in their class later, but she's in the library messing around. So I don't think she's actually part of the class. But Willow is, Xander is, and then these two characters we will meet in this scene named Fritz and Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also meet their teacher, Miss Calendar. But you can tell right away, she is like 100% like technology, like moving forward, the future. Like, where is this technology going to take us? All the possibilities of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so immediately that puts her at odds with Giles.
They're like polar opposites.
They're like little cute teacher nemesis.
Exactly. So that's exactly it. Yes.
He's like, oh, I can't believe you're in here. Like you're like encroaching on his like environment,
my books,
his territory and his books. So she thinks she's like doing this great thing, like digitizing all these books, and he's like basically you're violating my books.
I like how she says she'll help him get into the 21st century with 3 whole years to spare. That was funny.
Yeah, and there is actually a kind of like a weird, I don't know if they did it on purpose, if they remembered that line, but there is kind of a similar one years later when Willow is digitizing something for Giles. And she says 3 whole months to go. Oh, this is like something about you have 3. And it was like 1999, so it was like 3 months before 2000. So they kind of like that kind of gets brought back again later on, where he's still kind of like hold out for technology, and Willow is doing something for him. And she says, "Oh yeah, you finally got this done in only 3 months until basically the year 2000."
That's hilarious.
So that's Giles through and through. Yeah, so I almost said Cordelia. Miss Calendar and Giles are at odds right away. They don't like each other. They just don't see eye to eye on things. Jenny, her name's Jenny Calendar. You don't know her name Jenny yet, but Jenny Calendar is of the future and Giles is very much of the past. So they don't gel well together. So during the class, they're kind of like going back and forth about technology and how it's great. He thinks it's a dumb box. She said, no, that's the TV. And Fritz, one of the students, kind of joins in the conversation, is real creepy. And he's like, well, if you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
He's super weird. He's my least favorite character ever.
Yeah. And even Miss Calendar says, okay, well, you made us feel like we're all like crazy people. But he has a point that, what he was saying about technology, it's being limitless now and all this.
Yep.
And we noticed that Xander is wearing a shirt that says porn star.
I didn't notice that. What? Ew.
Is that the last time we see that, like the design in the show? It was like some like 90s brand. We see it again later at some point. I think Willow's wearing something or has something on her binder or something. I'll keep an eye out for it. But yeah, he's wearing a shirt that says porn star. I'm sure that would have been allowed.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to
school.
wear that at high school. Yeah, no, for sure.
So maybe if it was a guy, they're like, oh, it's fine. It's a man.
Weird.
If Buffy wore it, she'd probably kicked out of school again. But anyway, yes, Xander is wearing a shirt that says porn star. I love when Giles says, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going up. I'll be in the Middle Ages. And Jenny says, did you ever leave?
Yeah, that was really cute.
That was my favorite line. That was
your favorite line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, sick burn. My notes. She got him. Because they're just like verbally sparring this whole episode. And
it's witty banter. They have the best witty banter ever.
Yeah. And she burned him bad there. I loved it. So Willow is scanning. So basically class is over. Everybody's kind of dispersing. And Willow says she's going to stay behind and finish a few, she has a few pages left or a few books left. So everyone leaves. Willow is just alone in the library and she's scanning this book. And you can see it. It's not English. It's like some kind of script. And it gets scanned into the computer and then it disappears off the page. Willow doesn't really notice this.
Yeah.
But as it gets scanned into the computer, you can see the image come on the computer, and then the page starts to like disintegrate, like all of the writing on the page.
Yeah.
And then the computer screen goes black, and it just types, "Where am I?"
Yeah.
And then we go to the credits. So
she doesn't even notice.
Something has been scanned into the computer.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
Scary internet. So we go to the credits and we come back into the hallway and Willow is walking. She's all kind of daydreamy, glassy-eyed, on cloud nine. And Buffy runs up saying, where have you been? I was trying your phone line all night last night and I couldn't get through. She's like, I was talking to someone. This is back in the day when if you were on the internet, you couldn't call the house.
The modem was being used.
Couldn't call. This is why we got a second phone line in my room. And I was like, it's because we were 2 weeks into getting a computer, we were addicted to the internet. So no one could ever call our house because someone was on the computer from sun up to sundown. Like there was just no, it was it.
Yeah.
We were just constantly on the internet. So we had to get a second phone line. So that's why Buffy couldn't get a hold of Willow. So she said she met someone and Buffy is like salivating at this idea.
She has a million questions.
She's so excited. She's like, where'd you meet him? What does he look like? Have you kissed him? Immediately.
What's he like?
She said she met him in the library after this IT class or whatever. And that his name's Malcolm, but she doesn't know what he looks like. And Buffy's like,
that's weird.
What do you mean? Buffy's confused. They walk into the computer lab and Dave is talking to the computer. I forget what he says. He's like, oh, I'll do it or something like that.
Yeah.
He's talking to the computer. And Willow sits down and Buffy kind of follows her in. And she says, that's when Willow tells her that she met Malcolm online. And it takes Buffy a minute to even understand what she's talking about because this is 1997. So basically her and Malcolm chat and email. They've chatted and emailed, I don't know. I don't know if it's been a day, if it was Friday, if it was over a weekend. But they are smitten with each other, her and this Malcolm guy already. Mm-hmm. And they've been talking for hours and she's all about him. So he emails her while they're sitting there talking saying, oh, I'm thinking about you or I'm always thinking about you or something like that.
And she's all like, what do I say back? As if it's some big romantic gesture that he sent her like a huge paragraph or something. I was like, gee.
She's like, isn't he sweet?
Yeah. And Buffy's like, sure.
She's like, he's real sweet. So Buffy is immediately went from like so excited to concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
she's not sure what to think.
Yeah. And Willow is like, oh, I thought you might like be like this because I know you probably don't get it and everything. And she calls her Buffy and she uses her name and we see the little webcam in the corner zooming in on Buffy. It's very pixelated, so the computer hears Buffy's name and sees Buffy's face. And Buffy is just saying, I just want to make sure he's good enough for you. But, she's concerned that he could be some kind of like sicko or whatever. We'll come with all Buffy and Xander come up with all these crazy scenarios coming up. But right now, Buffy doesn't know what to think. So we go into like an office. Maybe it was Flutie's office. And the computer is just doing things on its own. It's scanning all the student records, and it comes up on Buffy. But while Buffy is still in the list, it says that she's a senior, which is not correct. That she was born October 24th, 1980, and that she has a 3.4 GPA. There's no way Buffy has a 3.4 GPA. And also we come to know that her birthday is not in October.
Oh, weird. Okay. So none of this is right.
The computer clicks on her and the big image comes up. It says she is a sophomore, which is correct.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, that's what I saw.
Born May 6th, 1979, which is also not correct. And that her GPA is 2.8. That seems about right for Buffy. And then when it goes back in and it goes back to the list, it says that she's a senior born May 6th, 1979. So it's like a hodgepodge of
catch that. Weird.
Messing up things that are just messed up.
Weird.
Buffy's birthday is in January. That gets like confirmed in the show later on. So this is all a mess. And I guess you could be like, oh, well, Malik was already in the system, so everything was getting... You could, say that if you really want to feel okay about the mistakes. Because we do see that Malcolm starts wreaking havoc on the school system and beyond. Like all the internet, the stuff that the school relies on that is in the internet and stuff. So
exactly.
If you want to sleep better at night, Buffy fans, you could say it was Malik unintentionally messing it up, even though he was looking for more information on Buffy. So
yeah.
Buffy it was all over the place. Her birthday, what year she was in at school, all over the place. When it comes up the second time, we see that it's shown on Fritz's computer, and it says to watch her. So Fritz has been recruited to keep an eye on Buffy because Malcolm or the computer can see that Buffy's concerned about
he's like a little Malcolm minion.
Yeah, he is a minion for sure. Oh, and one other thing about that, when it goes... At one point, the record goes away and you just see the desktop. There is a folder on the desktop that is titled Buffy ... iRobot.
Oh, I totally missed that. Wow, you catch so much.
It's really fast. Really fast. You have to pause it. Which is just like fun because that's the name. It's actually part of the episode.
Yeah.
So it's like a little Easter egg there. Like stuff for the episode could have been in there, whatever, just a fun little Easter egg.
Yeah. So yeah, Buffy and Willow are still talking. Buffy's all asking about his looks because that's important. And Willow's like, it doesn't matter when you really care about someone.
But what if he has a hairy back? She's like, I don't think so. But I feel like Willow's like, oh God, what if he does?
I know, I saw that look on her face, but like, honestly, it's like, whatever. That's so funny.
Yeah. So, and Jenny is her name is Jenny, okay? Miss Calendar, Jenny Calendar is in the computer lab, and she tells Fritz that she's looking at the log of the time they spent on the computer and says that him and Dave have been logging a lot of computer time. And he says, we're working on a new project.
Oh, yeah.
And she's intrigued. She's like, oh, will I be excited or something? And he says, you'll die.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Dave and Fritz are involved in whatever's going on.
Henchmen. The minions.
In the quad, this part was crazy. Willow is walking down the stairs, but she walks past a guy sitting on this really early laptop, which was looks like plywood, a couple of pieces of plywood stacked on top of each other. And he's like, what? I didn't write this. And he's reading one of his school papers, and it says in the paper that Nazi German was an example of a well-ordered society, something like that. He's I didn't write that. Who's been in here? So that's the first clue that
something's on. Something's going on.
Things are getting manipulated.
Yeah.
In anything that the internet, the school system, their modem is connected to. And this guy's like, oh my God, I didn't write that. I did not write a paper that was complimentary to Nazi Germany. But Willow doesn't notice that. And Willow's walking down. She doesn't notice anything. She's all Malcolm.
She's in La La Land.
Malcolm colored glasses on. And Xander asks her if she wants to go to the Bronze. She's like, no, I'm just going to call it an early night. He's like, oh, because of Malcolm. She's like, yeah. Have fun, though. Have fun. Bye, Xander.
He's almost like jealous at which is ridiculous, but
Well,
he
Buffy
seems
brings
a
that
little
up.
jealous. Yeah.
So Buffy shows up and he's like, "What about this Malcolm guy? I don't know." She's like, "Oh, don't be jealous." And he
Mhm.
says, I'm not interested in Willow that way. She's like, "Maybe, but you're used to being like her number one priority."
Exactly.
And now she's interested in somebody.
Like, what she something? One of them said Willow's got a thing and Xander's got no one to hang.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like, what?
He's like, "Oh, everybody abandons me," or something like that.
Yeah, he's so over the top.
Poor Xander.
Uh,
And Xander really like starts like going crazy about who he could be. It could be a serial killer,
axe murder,
yeah,
circus freak.
Buffy's as a circus freak, and they're like really start getting spun. They start spinning out like completely, and then Buffy's like, "Wait, we're overreacting. We don't know anything, and you're doing this. You made me like get all out of control."
Yeah.
Now we go back to the computer lab, and Fritz is sitting by himself. It's kind of like dark, and he keeps saying that's when he's saying,
Jacked in.
I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. It's so weird.
He's carving an M on his inner arm. I was like, whoa.
He's giving himself an old schoolyard tattoo.
Jeez, that's insane.
Yeah, he's out there for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So in the locker room, Buffy is getting ready. It looks like she's getting ready for gym. And Willow rushes in. She's late, and Buffy's, wow, like that's crazy that you were late. That's definitely not Willow. And Willow says she slept in till 5th period because she was talking to Malcolm. And Buffy's like, that doesn't really seem like you, Willow. Yeah. And then she says, so what's the big deal if I blew off a couple of classes? So either she blew off classes or she slept in. Her excuses for not being at school is gonna get mixed up. And Buffy, they kind of have a little bit of tension here because she's like, oh, Malcolm knew you wouldn't understand. And Buffy's like, yeah, Malcolm's right. I don't understand. And Buffy just leaves. Yeah. So Willow's being a bit defensive and Buffy's worried about her.
Yeah, of course.
Buffy walks into the computer lab because officially she is worried now and doesn't like this effect this person's having on Willow. Yeah. And she asks the person that she thinks is like the smartest with computers, which is Dave. So Dave is sitting in the computer lab. She comes in to ask him. He gets startled. And she asks, I have a technical question. If someone sent me an email and I wanted to trace the letter, how would I do that?
The E-letter.
The E-letter. She keeps saying E-letter, which is so funny because basically the way they're talking is email is a thing and the thing you send is an E-letter. Even though it's all email. Email is a thing and it's the individual communication. Yeah. But she keeps calling...
E-letter.
Yeah, she says, if someone sent me email... But then the actual message is an E-letter. This is when I was like, I've never heard anyone, like even in like the late 90s, I never heard anyone be like, oh, got this E-letter. No. Or, hey, send me an E-letter. What's your E-letter address or email?
What's your E-letter address?
I guess they would have said email, the address. But like when you send it, it's an E-letter. That's what she's basically saying, which I've never...
I think that's a Buffyism.
I hope so, because, it was just so weird to listen to it. It was distracting. Took me out of it for a minute. And just saying, Babe saying it's hard to figure out. You can look at their profile, but she's like, but they write their own profile, so they can say anything they want.
Anything they want, exactly.
Yeah, which is true. We know that. I mean, 2023, we know you can be whoever you want on the internet. You can make up an entire identity that's not your own. So that's kind of what Buffy's concerned about. And she says, I'm concerned because Willow has this talking to this guy named Malcolm, and immediately Dave switches and he gets visibly shaken and nervous, and he says to leave Willow alone, it's none of your business. And Buffy immediately says, oh my God, are you Malcolm? Are you pretending? Are you a secret admirer for Willow? Which would have been really, really cute.
Yeah, it would have been actually.
That's not how it's going, but that would have been adorable. For a boy to like Willow, but be so scared to be himself to her, because Willow is so awkward and everything, that would have been so cute. Anyway, missed opportunity. So Dave just is dismissing Buffy completely at this point and says, oh, do you mind? I have to do some work. And Buffy's like, yeah, I got to do some work too now, because now I am even more suspicious of something going on. I think she thinks Dave is involved. And when she walks out, Fritz is eyeing her. He's paying attention to her movements. In the library, Buffy is telling Giles, something's going on. This So
Yeah,
often in these
sounds
early
right.
seasons, Buffy's like, something's wrong. And Giles is like, everything's fine. And then it never is.
But this time he seems to like, be like, okay. And she's saying it's not just Willow too. It's like with Dave and Fritz. And
Yeah. And I
Giles, to
think,
his credit, is kind of like, I don't know how to advise you on this, but at least he believes her.
yeah, I think he is more like, it's just out of my depth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I don't know where, I can't advise you on it, like you said, because
Yeah.
it's not something
Yeah.
I have any familiarity with. He said if it would have been a nice ogre or something, he could have done something for her.
Yeah. Actually, I think this is my favorite line when he says he isn't sure how to advise her as things on the computer fill him with a childlike terror.
He's so cute.
That was really funny.
He's such an old curmudgeon.
His character development in this episode, I think that's actually what drew me to it mostly. Is like his character really develops in this episode, I feel like.
I love Giles. Yeah, he's great. He's so funny.
He's really growing on me. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been like so far in the whole show, he's my favorite. Up to season episode 8, he's my favorite character still. Giles says, "Why don't you follow him? Like it's some dark." She's like, "Oh, some dark glasses and like a trench coat. Like, please."
But then
and then she's like, "I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out." Yeah, and then immediately cuts to her with glasses and like a leopard coat, like watching.
Yeah, that's such a like not an obvious trench coat at all.
No, it's like what she had on hand. Though.
Leopard print.
It's what she had on hand. She had to like work with what she had in her locker. And she sees Dave getting into a car and driving away. So she just walks behind him because Buffy doesn't drive. So she follows him.
I'm not sure how that works. Yeah.
She gets on Xander's skateboard. I don't know. Like she follows him somehow.
She takes an Uber.
Yeah, maybe. Like from the future before Uber even existed. She follows him to a building and she's kind of like hiding away in the corner watching him get out, and there's like all these people in like lab coats and like crates and stuff being dropped off, and
security people,
security detail, and the building says CRD, so she's kind of just observing what's going on, trying to kind of gather some kind of intel, and we see that the security camera on the building is zooming in on her, so it sees that she is like following Dave and that she's on to him. Buffy returns to the library and is talking about like that Dave went to this building. It said CRD. They were up to something there. And Xander says, his uncle used to work at CRD in a floor sweeping capacity, and that it was Calyx Research and Development. It's a computer like research company.
Yeah.
It closed last year, and it was like the third biggest employer in Sunnydale.
Dale.
Almost got me. It's Sunnydale. He says there's no way it's like open again officially because it would have been all over the news because it was such a big employer for the city. So he's like, we would have heard about this if this was like a legitimate reopening of the company. Buffy says something's definitely wrong. My spider senses are tingling. My spidey senses are tingling, and Giles doesn't understand that reference. Of course, it's Spider-Man.
Yes.
Spider-Man has
pop culture
senses, and Buffy has spidey senses as well. He says, I don't know, maybe like short of breaking in, and Buffy's like, okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. That's a plan.
Great idea. Fantastic.
That's what we're gonna do. So Xander and Buffy are gonna go to CRD and check out what's going on. In the computer lab, Willow is having a romantic conversation with Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when Willow's talking to him and she's saying everything out loud before she types it.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's hilarious. You're right. Yeah.
And I'm like, we could have just looked at the screen and read it, but she's like, I like you too, and then is typing it. That's what Buffy doesn't understand. And then is typing it. She's saying it out loud as she's typing. I was like,
I totally didn't even notice that. That's funny.
It's like so weird. It was just weird.
It's weird.
That never would have been shot like that.
So they plan to meet up.
She says, "Oh, should we meet?" And I think he says, "Soon."
We'll meet soon. Yeah.
She brings Buffy up, saying she doesn't understand, and she's like, "That's why she got kicked out of her old school." And Willow's like, "How?"
And that makes her pause.
Yeah.
Finally, something makes her pause.
I don't remember saying that to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "You must have mentioned it. It's in her permanent record. You must have mentioned it." And she's like, "Okay," but she is suspicious immediately. Like something doesn't.
Yep,
alarm bells are ringing for her.
And she seems upset that he snooped on Buffy.
Yeah, she's definitely suspicious of how he. I think she is playing like, oh yeah, maybe I did say it, but she knows she didn't. She gets spooked and signs off.
Mm-hmm.
in the library, Miss Calendar and Giles are fighting again about technology.
I'm going to call it witty banter.
Could also call it flirting.
It is definitely flirting. I don't think he realizes that yet.
Maybe they're secretly hot for each other. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think they totally are.
I think by the end of this episode, there is some sparkage on one end of this duo for sure. Yeah. From one line that we'll get to that I laughed so hard at.
I know which line you're talking about.
About the corkscrew. That's
I thought that was quite the interest. When she said that, I was like, whoa, they went there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Okay. I can't wait. So they are fighting about technology. She just comes in there because I think she likes a good fight with him. And he says, any of these books have way more to say than your internet. And she opens a book and it's blank. She's like, this one doesn't seem to have a lot to say. And he's confused. She's like, is it a diary? He says, yeah, it must be. I haven't been able to go through all these books yet. Kind of confused. Like, why is this just like a blank book? So he's intrigued by this. In the quad, before we see Dave and Buffy talking to Dave, we see the nurse and I guess another teacher walking through the quad saying, I didn't see anything in his file that he was allergic to penicillin. So she gave a student penicillin and he's allergic. So that's pretty bad. That probably was in the student's file at one point, but Malik is messing with all of the digital records and everything. So that was the second sign that Malik's doing stuff to the computer systems. Yeah. So Dave comes up to Buffy and says,
from a medical standpoint, though, the odds of a nurse giving someone penicillin at school is slim to none.
I did think that. I was like, that's weird.
At school. No,
they wouldn't even allergic to something at school. Yeah, it's weird. It is. That did occur to me.
Okay.
They could have made something else, like nuts or something. Yeah. I gave him something with nuts, peanut butter on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but exactly.
Something that would be out of school.
Nope. Yeah.
So Dave comes up to Buffy and apologizes for being short with her the other day and says that Willow's looking for you. And Buffy says, yeah, I want to talk to her. Dave says, oh, she's waiting for you in the girls' locker room. And Buffy is kind of suspicious, definitely suspicious of Dave still. Yep. She goes into the locker room. She's looking for Willow and she hears the shower running. So she thinks that Willow is in the shower. And before this, we do see Fritz turn the water on. That's all we see. We see him turn the water on and then he disappears. But before Buffy comes in. Yeah. So Buffy goes into the shower area. Nobody's there. She turns the water off. And we see when the water is moving towards a open wire. Yeah. So it's like sparking and stuff. Yeah, to electrocute. Yeah. So the water is very close to that. She's turning off the water and she's stepping into the shower where the water is. Yep. And Dave comes in and says, Buffy, get out of there. So she, just in time, starts to get away from the water, but it throws her. She does get a shock and throws her.
Yeah, exactly. She does.
Out of the area.
I think she's already starting to jump.
Yeah. And she looks up and her shoes are smoking. Or she looks at her feet and her shoes are smoking. So that was a close call. In the computer lab, Dave comes in. So obviously he's just left from saving Buffy, talks to the computer, says he can't do it. He's having a change of heart. He just can't go through with, obviously, a plan to kill Buffy. Says it's not worth it. She's not a threat to you. We just can't do this. Malcolm/Malik is trying to talk him back into his good graces, and trying to get him back.
Won't do it.
But Dave's done. There's a line for him, and he's not going to be killing people.
And then Malcolm is like, well, for that, then here's your punishment.
Yeah, this part is really creepy. When
this is too far.
It was so. Can you imagine seeing that written? How you'd be like, oh my god. Yeah. Like a blank Word document, essentially. It's not, but it comes up and starts writing out his suicide note. So the plan is to kill him and make it look like a suicide. And poor Dave is watching his suicide note be written in front of him.
Be written right in front of his eyes.
Yeah, that was so creepy. Poor Dave is watching this horrified, and we see Fritz standing behind him. But the scene ends there. Yep. Yeah. In the library, Buffy is sitting in a chair. She looks a little bit frizzy. Giles
and she's very concerned about the appearance of her hair.
Yeah, Giles brings over some tea, and Xander's very upset he wants to go kill Dave. It opens, I'm going to kill Dave, and poor Dave is actually being killed. Giles says she's only okay because she's a Slayer. If she was anyone else, it would have killed her because she was only grounded for a minute. And obviously she's much stronger and has like accelerated healing powers and all of this. She's harder to kill than the average human. So that is why she is not dead or seriously injured from almost being electrocuted. It looks like it
took a toll on her, though. She looks, not great. Yeah.
So she's like, tell me the truth. How is my hair? And Giles is like, oh, yeah, it's fine. When Xander says it, look, never looked better. Never looked better. She's
best hair.
She looks awful. Poor thing. I mean, her bad hair day is still pretty much
better than my
best hair day. Yeah, exactly. So it's okay, Buffy. You'll be okay. She says, I don't understand why what would drive Dave to do something like this, to try to kill her. And Giles thinks that he knows. He thinks a demon has been set free from the book, because that blank book that Jenny found, because back in the Middle Ages, they used to bind demons to books. And it looks like this is what happened here, and it has been read. So the demon is loose somewhere. He says, I don't know how it was read. It wasn't even in English. I didn't read it. And a random student couldn't read it. It was like in a very weird script. Like it wasn't a common language. And Buffy says, where was it? They said it was in the pile of books to be scanned. And Buffy says it was scanned, so the computer read it. Then they go to the next step where, okay, the computer read it, but there isn't a demon running around that no one's noticed. And Buffy, again, Buffy is so like puts two and two together so well in these early seasons when the other characters don't. And she says, he's in the computer. And every computer connected to it. So that's when she realizes that putting two together with Willow's behavior and Fritz and Dave, that this all has something to do with it.
And she thinks that maybe deleting the file.
Yeah, they say, you know what?
That'll get rid of the demon.
Giles even says this might be a futile gesture, but we're going to try it. Like, why not? Yeah. We're going to try it. We're going to try deleting the file. So Buffy gets on the computer and finds Willow scanned it, so she finds her file and drives it to the trash. And I almost said Gollum. Okay, not Gollum. Wow, wrong universe. Malcolm / Moloch pops up and says, leave Willow alone. It's none of your business, which is exactly the same line that Dave said. And I don't know if that was intentional or exactly what Dave said. And then he just goes away. And they're like, oh my God. Well, now we know Malcolm's in there.
Now we know what he looks like.
Now we know what he looks like. Wish he had a Harry back. Like, that's your worries.
So creepy.
Wish Harry back was at least your worries, Willow, there.
Right.
And they start talking about where this could lead. Like, if he gets really out, if he's unchecked, what could happen? And Buffy basically tops out everything everyone's saying. Saying he could get into the nuclear codes, and that could be lights out for everyone. Everything, and I did look up some stuff about this episode, like little trivia and stuff. And Moloch is, there is how they name the demon is kind of like a nod to computer science, because Maloc, MALLOC equals memory allocate. So they kind of named the demon after something in like computer science.
Interesting. Okay.
So Maloc with a C is at like LLOC is.
That's funny. Say the same. I was wondering if it was like a. Okay, I thought it was a Bible reference because of Malachi, but that yours makes more sense.
I mean, that would be a good guess too, because it's a demon. Buffy tells Giles and Xander to call Willow at home, and she's going to go try to find her at the computer lab because they know that Willow is probably talking to him. And Buffy goes to the computer lab and finds Dave hanging there with his suicide note attached to his chest. Poor Dave.
Sad.
I do feel bad for Dave.
Yeah, actually.
She comes back into the library. Giles and Xander say that Willow didn't answer. She wasn't at home, but it rang, so she wasn't on the internet. She says that Dave is dead. It looks like it was probably Fritz that did it, or one of the other CRD goons, or she says zomboids, or I don't remember what she said, but one of the other minions, Malcolm's minions. Giles needs to come up with a plan while Buffy and Xander go to Willow's. He has to figure out a plan of how to get Moloch out
to
of
get
the
him
internet.
out of the computer.
He says,
And
"Well,
Giles is like, how do I do that? Like,
they said
this is
maybe
not-
ask Jenny Miss Calendar for help." He's like, "Yeah,
Miss Calendar. Yeah.
what am I supposed to tell her? Like, how am I supposed to describe the
The demon
situation
in the
that I help?"
computer.
Yeah, exactly. So they all have their tasks and they all head out.
Yeah.
At Willow's house, so we see Willow coming home. She goes up to her room. She's home alone, and she sees an email from Malcolm, and it says, "No more waiting. I need you to see me." And she doesn't.
Yeah.
She just turns the computer off. Like she's still like wary.
Because she's like not sure about things now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Willow got carried away, but she's not stupid.
Yes, that's
So-
actually a very good way to describe it. Yeah.
She's
Coming to her senses.
yeah. She walks away, and then the computer turns on again, and the email still is there again. Like the computer turns on by itself, and she hears the doorbell ring. She runs down. She thinks it's her dad who forgot his keys. There's no one at the door. And then when she turns around, Fritz is there with like chloroform essentially, and knocks her out and takes her. In the library, in the background, Giles is listening to the news, and it's clear that Moloch is spreading through outside of the
There's all
school.
this weird stuff going on.
Talking about like the Vatican and the FBI is like talking about errors, like internet errors and like database errors that they had. And the person saying that is actually Joss Whedon, the creator. That's his voice.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
I didn't notice it at first, but once I like read that and then I went back, I was like, oh yeah, I could totally like hear his voice. He has a pretty distinct voice.
Cool. Okay.
So Joss is doing that voice over there. And Miss Calendar comes in and Giles is like, okay, I need your help, but first I have to tell you something that you're not going to believe. There's a demon. He's going to struggles for a little bit trying to like articulate what he has to say. And then he just comes out with it. He says, there's a demon in the internet. She's like, I know.
And she's like, I know.
I know this.
Oh, so funny.
So we leave that there. We leave that nice like hanging cliffhanger. While at Willow's house, Buffy and Xander go in there and they notice that she's gone. They put two together that she's been taken. And the only place they can really put together that they would take her is CRD.
Yeah.
So that's where they're going to head. Miss Calendar says that she's a techno-pagan and is going to help. She says that she casts bones. And I didn't really know what that meant. So I Googled it.
I didn't understand that either.
It's basically where you like have a bag or a collection of bones and you like shake them up and you like kind of like dice them. You like throw them on the somewhere. And then you can read things like tea leaves kind of. You can read messages or things in the way that the bones lay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like casting or tossing or throwing bones is what the term is. So she does that. And so she's not a witch, but she says she's a techno-pagan. And then there's more of us out there than you think. And we like to use the internet. Like we are very much like technology advanced, and it's science and this like mythical side. There's a marriage there and they can exist at the same time. And she knows about demons. She says, oh, maybe it's a mischief demon. And Giles says that it's Moloch. And she's like, the corruptor. So she's like, knows everything.
No, she knows a lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. She's going to be
fill her in on anything.
An asset going forward, I think.
Yep.
And she's going to help. She's going to do what she can to help get him out of the internet. She says that she was worried that something like this would happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy calls and says that she's going to CRD and that he needs to quickly figure out something because when they get there, things are going to escalate quickly and he needs to figure out how to get Moloch out of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
At CRD, Willow wakes up from being chloroformed and she just sees...
finally gets to see Malcolm.
She's just kind of like disoriented for a while. There's all these machines. And the computer starts talking to her like, oh, it's so to finally get to see you, my love. And then he says with my own two eyes, and it's this like huge machine Moloch. He still has the horns, but they're made of metal. It looks like him.
Yeah.
Looks like his like actual physical body.
It's like a robot version of him.
Yeah, but it's made of metal and it's a robot. And his voice, I like his voice. Like that guy could like read audiobooks and I would listen to it. He has a nice voice. When he's talking like this and he's talking, saying all of his lines when he's calm and he's kind of calculating.
Smooth voice.
It like works. Like I thought it was done well. An unnamed lab coat guy and Fritz grab Willow and Malcolm is talking about how the world is so new and he can do all these things now because he's in the internet, love and all this stuff. And he ends up killing Fritz. He like breaks his neck, just like he did with Carlo in the very first scene.
Just like it was nothing.
Yeah, he loves breaking people's necks. That's like his thing.
Oh God.
So he kills Fritz. I loved this part when Buffy and Xander jump over the fence to get into
Oh yeah, Buffy just like she just hops that thing, all athletic and gazelle-like, and like Xander's just so clumsy and like rolling over it basically.
He just falls right flat on his face. And then when they walk away, he's like limping.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. Yeah.
I thought that was so funny. She's just like, like just total gazelle. That's the perfect like animal like that Buffy would be. Like just like lands and he's just like flies past the camera.
More like a panda bear. Have you ever seen a panda rolling around?
Yeah, for sure. And the library, Miss Calendar is going to make the Circle of Kalis because that's what they have to do to put they have to recreate the ritual that bound him in the first place.
She's gonna do it online.
Yeah, so they have to basically do it on the internet because that's where he is. Yeah. And plus they only have 2 people. So she connects online. She's a hope that enough people are online right now to like help out. So they're prepping all that. At CRD, Malcolm says he wants to repay Willow for releasing him because she technically is the one that did it unknowingly. He loves her.
Yeah, she wants to know like why he wants her. And yeah, like you said, he wants to repay her. She gave him life. Like humans gave him the body, but she was able to give him life. He wants to give her the world.
Yeah, he says he's in love with her. And of course she doesn't believe this, but he says, I do love. She said, you made me believe I loved you. She's like, I do love you. And I was thinking, like, does in his mind, does he, or is he purely manipulating her?
I don't know, because like he does this with everybody, right? He makes them fall in love with him and then he just kills them. So yeah, I can't tell either. I don't know.
I feel like everyone that just like turns on him, like Dave and Willow, he tries to talk them back. He tries to bring them back to his good graces. And then when it's clear to him that they're not going to, then he kills them. And that's what he was going to do.
Even if they are going to, like with Fritz. Like
that's true.
Fritz did everything he wanted. He just killed him anyway. And that poor, cute Italian guy at the beginning, he just kills him for like no reason.
That's true.
Like what?
Yeah, so I guess it was just like pure manipulation for everybody.
But I don't know if he really does feel like Willow freed him, so he feels like he owes her. I'm not sure.
Is that special? Like, is that actually different? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering. I don't think I fell strongly on one side of the fence or the other on whether he has in his demon/robot mind, is he actually does he think he's in love with her, or does he know it's all manipulation with everyone else? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Buffy and Xander are like being poisoned by gas, like when they break into CRD. Like
they're trying to get into Willow. There's security cameras everywhere.
What a security system this place had. Poison gas.
I know, right?
You break in here to steal a floppy, like a floppy disk. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm assuming all this was left over from maybe not. Maybe Malcolm put it in, but I was like, that's really extreme. The poison gas. So they're trying to get in, and the poison gas is filling the hallway. So their time's running out for them if they don't do something. Yeah. In the library, we see Jenny is connecting to everyone online, and some of the cities are obviously Sunnydale, Hawaii, Denver, Mexico City, Vancouver. Those are some of the cities that she starts connecting to. The book that Giles is reading out of for the ritual is La Nature, which is a real French magazine about science and its industry applications. It was published in 1873. So I don't know if it just stole the name or if it actually does look like that. But
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Take that little nugget and do what you will with it.
Okay.
At CRD, Moloch is going to kill Willow because she's made it clear that she's not going to be with him.
Like, nope.
You don't love me.
I'm out.
I don't love you. This is not happening. And he's like, oh.
It's never going to work.
That's a pity. Yeah.
He gets over it pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, well, then I'll just kill you. And he's about to kill her, and Buffy finally breaks the door down. And I love it. She like immediately like kicks him and basically bounces right off him. Like boing. Like she's like, oh, he's made of metal.
Nothing.
He's made of metal.
God, yeah.
Yeah, she just like flies right off of him like she's a rubber ball. Poor thing. Giles does the ritual and it works, and Malcolm is saying, no, I'm not going back there again. Again, a very bad part where I just don't like Malcolm. Like, I just don't, he's not doing it for me. And he's like, no, I won't go back. Like, Malcolm, come on. Like, he works well when he's like I said, calculating, calm. The computer is sparking. I like that part. They say, okay, he's out of the internet. And Giles opens the book, but it's still blank. And they're like, okay, well, where did he go then? He's not on the internet anymore.
Where did he get bound to? Yeah.
So we see that Moloch has been bound to the robot body that he's in. So he's, because he was in the internet and he was in that robot body. So now he's only in the body, in the machine body. And Buffy, Xander, and Willow are trying to run away. He comes after them. Usually in this show, a lot of times in this show, somebody will get knocked out, air quotes, and I'm like, that wouldn't knock you out. But this metal arm across the face to Xander, that would feel like was legitimately would knock him unconscious. That was probably a severe blow to the head. I was like, okay, that one I can buy for sure. Buffy's trying to fight him, but having a hard time, and he's basically going to get the best of her. When Willow comes at Malcolm with a fire extinguisher. And her lines, this whole thing, like, hey, remember your girlfriend? I think we should break up. Be friends. I'm like, oh, God, we still be friends. I was like, oh, Willow, no.
It was pretty cheesy.
It was corny. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So while Willow is kind of distracting Malcolm, Buffy sees that there's like an electrical box behind her and starts baiting Malcolm, and when he goes to attack her, she ducks, and Malcolm's fist goes into the electrical box, and he gets electrocuted. So Buffy knew she couldn't really take him on physically at this point, so she gets resourceful and uses electricity to kill him. Like, he tried to kill her. Payback.
That's right.
Yeah, he tried to kill her, so. And so, yeah, Malcolm is gone. We don't know where he went, but, or he's just dead. I don't know. He's not bound to anything.
He's just dead.
Yeah, he's just dead.
Yeah, he's gone.
I'll go with that, yeah. Giles comes into Jenny's classroom.
Computer lab. Yep.
Yeah, he basically
thank her for her help.
Thanks for helping, and he says he was returning an earring. It was like, looks like a little spiral, and she says, "Oh, thanks." And he goes to leave, and she's like, "You just can't wait to get out of here, can you?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't even want to be on computers." Like, even more after this whole situation. And she's like, "What is your problem with them?" And he says, I want to read it.
I love this.
He says, the smell. And she's like, computers don't smell. And he says, I know. Smell is the most powerful memory trigger there is. A certain flower or whiff of smoke can bring up experiences long forgotten. Books smell, musty and rich. Knowledge gained from a computer has no texture, no context. It's there and then it's gone. If it's to last, the getting of knowledge should be tangible. It should be smelly.
I like that.
And I just liked that. And she was like, okay.
Yeah, like, she accepted that.
She accepts it. And I think they find common ground there. Not really common ground, but they agree to disagree. Like, they can
exactly
see his point of view.
Yeah.
And that whole scene between them there and like him talking about smelly knowledge and stuff, that was me. I loved that.
I love that. Yeah.
And really when she says, you're really old fashioned, aren't you? Or something like that. And he says, well, I don't wear a dangle a corkscrew from my ear. And she says, that's not where I dangle it. It gives him this look as she walks by him, and he's like, oh. His glasses are getting steamed up. Like, he's like, what? Did this woman just like come on to me or like flirt with me?
Yeah, she did.
She has, and it's obvious, like, she's flirting with him.
Yep, she likes him.
And she's cool as hell.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And she's confident. Yeah, she knows what she wants, and she's gonna get it.
Yeah, she's gonna get that Giles, so she's gonna get it. I love that when she was like, that's not where I dangle it. And he's like, oh.
I mean, I was too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, girl.
She put it out there. Yeah. There's no confusion. The bickering between them gets her hot and bothered, obviously. They're sitting by the fountain. And obviously you can tell Willow's still bummed about Malcolm, that how he tricked her. And like, when the only boy that ever liked me.
Some creepy robot guy.
Was a creepy demon robot.
Demon robot, yeah. And Buffy's like, well, the one boy that I had a crush on was a vampire.
Yeah. But we do forget about Owen already. I feel like we forget people about so quickly. She was gaga over Owen.
Yes, I don't know if you remember high school, but that's totally how it went for me too. One boy on to the next.
She forgot about Owen, wasn't even in part of her memory anymore. Okay, I'll buy it. And then Xander says,
like, I had a crush on a giant praying mantis teacher.
He's like, that's life on the Hellmouth. None of us are ever gonna have a normal relationship. We're doomed.
And they laugh.
And they're
and then they're so sad.
yeah, it's like that really like
yeah.
And then they
exactly
just like dawns on them like, oh God, that's probably true. And we're laughing about it, but it's very sad.
Yeah.
And that's the awkward like ending. Like, oh, I love that ending. It's so perfect.
It was a really good ending. Yeah. It was super cute.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is I, Robot You, Jane. Not a universally loved episode, but not the worst episode of the show.
I liked it.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. So my favorite line was, I'll be back in the Middle Ages. And when Jenny says, did you ever leave? Love it. All my favorite really stuff cute. Really, I feel like, generated around or like surrounded Giles and Jenny. Yeah. Jenny Calendar. My favorite scene was the smelly knowledge scene.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite scene actually too.
Yeah. I
really like that scene.
I love how Giles explained it.
Yeah.
And it was a turning point for them because all they did was bicker the whole episode. Mm-hmm. I just loved their interaction with that. And then you followed up with that's not where I dangle it. Brr! There wasn't even a close second to that scene, in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead. With yours.
That was my favorite scene. And then just, again, my favorite line was when Giles said he wasn't sure how to advise Buffy as things on computer fill him with a childlike terror.
That's right.
That was just such a cute line.
Yeah. Giles and Jenny hitting it out of the park in this one. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stakes. There was a lot I liked, but a lot that I was like, ugh. So the Moloch acting, which I've talked about at certain points, was like, yuck. It was dated more than the other ones to a thing, like the E-letter and stuff. It just took it away. It took away from me. Okay. Not the worst plot ever, especially for 1997 when the internet was very new and scary for some people. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. It was a Willow episode. Yeah. I love that we met Jenny Calendar, and I love the relationship between Jenny and Giles. Like the bickering and stuff was golden. So. Yeah. Okay.
I'm actually going to give it a 4 out of 5. Mm-hmm. Okay. I really liked it. I mean, I know that, again, this wasn't their intent, but I really liked a lot of the computer stuff because it was funny. Mm-hmm. I know it wasn't trying to be funny, but it made me laugh, so I'm going to give it points for that. I liked that it was a Willow-centric episode as well. I also liked that there was no creepy Xander stuff in this episode, so that was kind of nice. Yeah. Nothing he did bothered me this entire episode.
I'm trying to think back, but nothing comes to mind.
That's a lot of points actually for me. And
good point.
I also liked them introducing Miss Calendar, and then just I think my favorite part of the whole episode, honestly, was just the Giles development. Just watching him talk about things more. The witty banter between him and Miss Calendar. That was just all really great stuff for me. So yeah.
Yeah, they are well matched. Yeah. And they're so different. It's so cute.
Opposites attract. Super cute.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see how that develops. Ooh.
I'm curious.
We should go get him, get his ear pierced. Or something pierced. No, we'll see. Okay, so your question for the next one. Let's see. Okay. You might be on it. We can see if you can get on a streak. Okay. I'll accept a very broad answer for this one. And the next episode, The Puppet Show, which I remember being very creepy. I haven't watched it for a while, but
you and your really puppets, your puppet
creep
thing.
Me out. Yeah. Doll, any kind of doll thing.
Ashley has a weird thing with puppets and dolls.
Yeah, I just don't like them. They're very creepy to me.
Don't mention any movies from the 80s with flying aliens.
Ooh, yeah. God, I saw something on. Okay. So I have a still from age 6 when I first saw E.T. to now. I have a phobia of him. And somebody posted a meme the other day, and I was like, I was like, because it just pops up of it every here and there, you know what I mean? Because it's a
cult classic.
I hate him. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, Puppet Show. Got it.
Yes. So in the next episode of The Puppet Show, Buffy, Xander, and Willow do something together for the talent show. What is it? The school talent show. They do something. The 3 of them do something for the talent show together.
Sing a song? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with sing a song. I don't know. Guess. Like, it's called Puppet Show, so I want to say, like, a puppet show, but that just seems too obvious, so I'm going to have to say sing a song. I don't think they would choreograph dance, which is what a lot of people do for these things, so I'm going to go with sing.
Okay. Yep. All right. We'll see if you're right.
Okay.
This is a good one, The Puppet Show. I'm looking forward to watching this again. It's been a while.
Okay.
So that wraps up episode 8 of season 1, I, Robot You, Jane. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod, or you could send us an email at onegirlpod@gmail.com. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with the episode The Puppet Show. Slay you real soon.
Bye.